Today, you are looking at Module 3, which is your production possibility curve. All right, over here, we got your production possibility curve. And as you look at it, what were some interesting things, I guess. Number one, they're always going to use two different goods here. It's not price and quantity on the axes. Rather, it's going to be two goods that somehow you could produce, right? So if in this case, I'm producing calzones and pizzas, what they like to do is they like to put things on there that are going to be something that are similar, right? You're using this exact same resources when you are making pizzas and when you're making calzones. So wherever one you're making, you're going to use the same resources. That's what they like to do. Why do they like to do that? Well, because then you end up with this sweet downward sloping line that is like straight. If for some reason the goods wouldn't match up, right? Then you're going to get something that's bowed out from the origin, it's called, right? Like a curved line. But we're not going to get a curved line when we use something that the resources are the same. In this case, then, we have a couple things. Number one, if you are going to be efficient, you are going to be on this line. Meaning, even if you're at 8 and 0 or 0 and 8, you are using all your resources in the best possible way. When are you not using your resources in the best possible way? When you're in here at point C. That is a bad thing happening because you are not using your resources in the best way. For some reason, you're slacking, right? You should be able to get out here to point B or up here to point A, but you can't do it right now. So because you can't do that, or because something is preventing you from doing that, maybe it's your labor, maybe it's something, your resources don't match up for some reason, a little inefficient, like you got to be able to get out to this line. That's going to be the best thing for you. Lastly, in this particular one, you're going to see a point out here that's not feasible. Right now, with the resources that you have, you just can't get point D. It might be possible for someday us to get point D, but at this current point, you cannot. So if you are on the line, that's good. Anything from point A to point B is good. Point C is bad, and point D is not possible. Now, a couple other things before we move on with this one. If you go from point A to point B here, you are experiencing something called a trade-off. You can't have everything, right? If you did, this line would slope this way, and that would be impossible, right? Scarcity is the answer. So as you look here at our line from point A to point B, you are experiencing a trade-off in this case of 2 calzones for 2 pizzas. So if I decide to go from point A to point B, my opportunity cost is 2 calzones. What am I getting? I'm getting 2 pizzas. So this is a nice way to show what your opportunity costs are when you're dealing with 2 particular goods that you could possibly make. Now, if by looking at this one here, opportunity cost is constant. That means our line is going to be straight. It doesn't have to be a 1-to-1. It could be a 1-to-2 or a 1-to-3 or a 1-to-4. Your slope could change on my line, right? But it will always be straight. What happens when it's not straight? You're going to get something that looks like this. This is called increasing opportunity costs. Now, the problem with increasing opportunity costs in this example up here is that they're doing something like they're still using pizza and calzones. And that's not a real good example because we just said, oh, same amount of resources for pizzas that make calzones. In this case, you should be using things that are super, super different, right? So in this case, we're using guns and butter. Well, if I use guns and butter, I might get an opportunity cost that looks something like this. All right. Now, if I put in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's go with 6. So I could be up here at 6 guns and 0 butters. That's probably where I want to be because I love guns. But if I want to go get some more butter, right? I'm going to give up 1 gun here to go down to 5. If I do that, I can be out here and get 4 butters, right? So what does that mean in turn? That means that if I want to go get this 1 extra gun, I have to give up 4 butters. That's a lot of butter to get a gun. Is it worth it? Yes, because we love guns. But it's still a lot. Same thing is going to happen over here. If I want to try to go get this 1 extra butter, I'm going to have to give, well, it looks like this. I'm going to have to give up 4 guns to get this 1 extra butter. Well, probably because I drew it almost the same, right? That's a lot of guns to go get the butter, right? Now you could say, well, Mr. Dessart, I can't eat a gun. I can eat butter. Maybe it's better to have that extra butter. It's probably somewhere best to be in here someplace, right? Now, if I go from point A to point B out here, if you look, I give up 1 to get 1, or I give up 1 to get 1. That right there is pretty close to constant. But I know, because these goods, butter and guns, do not match up, the ends are going to be super hard for me to obtain. That means I have an increasing opportunity cost. The more I wanted that one thing, the more I'm going to have to give up on the other one to get it when I get to the ends. All right? So increasing opportunity cost just simply means that this line is bowed out from the origin. It's if these two things, you could use all the same materials to make guns as to make butter, then it would look something like this. But it's not. Again, are we efficient at point A and point B? Yes, we are. Are we efficient at point C and point D? Yes, we are. Someplace in here at 3 and 3, would I be, not efficient in having a free lunch? Correct. Out here, would I be impossible? Yes. All those same things apply. The difference is it's not a straight line anymore. It's bowed out. As you look at that opportunity cost, we're going to skip that efficient one right there. How do things change, or how can this work? Most of the time, if we're seeing economic growth between guns and butter like this, what we're trying to see is something is going to get us out here. Let's say this is point E out here. Maybe something occurs in our economy where we can have more of everything. If that could happen, we might see this line push out. If that line pushes out, this here is economic growth. How does it happen? Well, we could have some different expansion in the economy's production possibility curve through maybe more labor. Somehow we get more labor, or the labor can be more efficient with the use of technology. Technology always pushes that out to the right. So that's a possibility. Maybe some entrepreneur invents something new that's going to help us produce this particular good. There's a lot of things that could push this out to the right. Is it possible to get more land? Maybe. Hard to do maybe with land, but maybe if you went up, for example, and you started building a factory with maybe multiple floors and using that land in a different way, maybe again, technology is probably the easiest example, because you think if you have some new technology, you add some computer component or robot component, something like through capital there, that you could maybe push that out. But you're going to see examples of economic growth when you see something like this happen, right? So as you look at this one, you can see we have more at every single quantity here. Something is fundamentally changed in our economy, and that is how you use a production possibility curve. The crazy thing is, this point E used to be not feasible, and now, due to some sort of economic growth that happened, it's not only feasible, but it's efficient, because maybe we'll be on that line. All right, that's how you do production possibility curves. There'll be some examples in a packet for you to do. And if you have any questions, email me. Thanks. Bye.